How can we soften in moments of change or transition? How can we soften that anxiety that we feel when we feel like one world is completely crumbling and our new world is opening up and blossoming? Because I feel like even though that's very exciting, can you lay down, please? Thank you. That can also induce some anxious feelings. But first, my name is Jessica Darling. Welcome to my channel. I am an artist and content creator extraordinaire. Okay, first of all, I got a sample poster. Check her out. Va-va-voom. I just need to make a little edit right there. How adorable. These are gonna be available to print on demand from your home. Wow, I like it. Okay. Looking good. I think that would look very nice framed in your home. There's actually 2 of them. I just got one sample print so I could see the print quality. And I'd say it looks pretty good. I'm currently in this moment of transition. I see my old life and I see the merging and budding of my new life, and it's like I'm very excited about the whole thing, and then sometimes I get a little anxious about the whole thing. I'm also not guaranteed a position at my school district job for next year. I can obviously apply for other jobs, but like I'm not like guaranteed a spot. So that's kind of a bummer, but also I'm like, well, you know, whatever is meant to happen is gonna happen. So I've been journaling and thinking about that question a lot. The one thing that we can count on for life is constantly changing. The only constant in life is change. So we like learning how to be adaptive and learning how to be more flexible in life is a super strong skill that is you're never too old to learn. And obviously if we can teach those skills to our children, chef's kiss, even better. But you're never too old to learn how to shift with life's transitions. Unfortunately, and if you are like me in any way, you understand that sometimes life's transitions can spiral you into anxiety. So life throws a lot at us. Sometimes we're moving, sometimes we're changing careers, sometimes we're building a business, but we're still holding on to our 9-to-5 job because that is more comfortable. And then we kind of have our life into our foot in one boat and another foot in the other, and we're kind of trying to guide through that. And at some point, it's always time to jump into one boat. So how can we do that with some grace, comfort, and ease, and not always spiraling into like anxiety? So like I said at the beginning, life is always changing. The only thing that we have control over is how we respond to the changes that we have to navigate in life. So I guess the question to answer, the question to explore, and this is my personal experience, would be, what are some solutions to soften anxiety during times of change? The biggest thing that I do that has helped is I've learned how to feel my feelings. Like, what do my feelings feel like in my body? What does anxiety feel like in my body? I feel like everyone says that, but it's hard because I've always intellectualized my feelings, I think, to a certain extent. Like, I felt like my feelings were more so in my head, but they are literal sensations that I'm feeling in my body that you have to learn to be comfortable with. The biggest thing for me was accepting bad feelings, like, or quote unquote bad feelings. Like, now I'm to a point where I don't feel like there are good or bad feelings. There are just like a range of emotions that we feel in this human experience, and all of them are valid and all of them are normal, and it's okay to feel them. I think when I stopped demonizing my anxiety and accepting it as a part of who I was, it was more manageable to feel that feeling. Fun fact that I learned is that anxiety and excitement feel the same in the body. So sometimes, like when I'm building momentum with my business and things are going well, I start feeling excited, but that excitement can also like trigger this feeling of anxiety. It's kind of like when you're going up the roller coaster, you're excited and you're like kind of scared at the same time. You know what I'm saying? The second thing, I don't know if we're on 2 or 3, but another thing that I do with my feelings is I affirm them. I'm like, hey, it makes sense to feel anxious right now. You're in a moment of transition and you don't know what's going to happen next. So it's a normal feeling and that's okay to feel that way. I think that phrasing specifically has been a really big game changer for me, and it did come from a psychologist that I was watching online, but it has really helped me a lot. And the key here is not waiting till you're in a full-blown anxiety spiral. It's to do this like a couple times a day and just check in with your body. Even if it's like really boring feelings, you're like, wow, I feel really tired. Oh, well, that makes sense because you've been working for 8 hours and your kids are asking you 100 million questions and you probably feel a little overstimulated and you probably need a break. So it makes sense if you feel tired, you know? And here's the last thing, especially when we're talking about times of transition, that has really helped me is having comforting mantras when you're going through a time of transition, such as like, oh, I know that I got notice for my work that I'm not guaranteed a position next year, but I also know that I've always had employment and everything always works out for me. So I'm not gonna stress about that everything will fall into line or everything is gonna happen as it should. And things that like find some sort of wording or verbiage that comforts you, which backs up this next point, is like remembering a time where it did all work out and just like really putting your focus and attention on times in your life where it did work out. For me, I use this a lot when we were moving across country because it was really exciting, but also like a little bit scary because I'm moving somewhere that I've never lived before and the cost of living is more and there's all these different factors. So I kept falling back on, I've always had a place to live and that's never going to change. Like I've always had somewhere that I can call home. I've always had somewhere that I can afford to live. And I just like kept repeating that back to myself anytime I would start getting nervous or feeling like I was going to spiral into anxiety. But also like that's the thing. Allowing anxiety to be part of your emotions and a part of how you're feeling, but not letting it take the wheel. Just like getting comfortable and friendly with that anxiety and being like, okay, I see you. You're here and you can stay here, but you're not going to take over my day. In the end, I'm really like into like dropping down and listening like inside your heart and inside your body. I feel like we have that invisible string pulling us somewhere, and sometimes our decisions don't always make sense to the rest of the world. For example, when I did move across country, it didn't necessarily make sense to my family and friends that lived back in the Midwest. But for me, I just felt this pull. And I feel like when you follow those little pulls, that invisible string, things end up tending to work out for you one way or another when you're following your intuition in like a level-headed way. I'm not saying you should just like quit your job and pack everything up. Like when my husband and I were discussing moving, we actually had talked about it for like years before we actually did anything. And so like we explored ideas of like where we wanted to move, and we were very like, we weren't putting a definite date on it, but we're just like, yeah, we want to move sometime. Like we want to experience living life somewhere else besides just right here where I had grown up my entire life. All of a sudden, everything clicked together at the same time, and he was able to get work out here. We were able to move. Everything worked out very seamlessly for us. What are some things that you guys do to deal with these big feelings? What are some tools in your toolbox? I'd love to hear from you, because when we can work together to find ways to feel more comfortable with all of these ranges of emotions that we can have as humans, I feel like we all benefit. It's good to make friends with all these components and different aspects of ourself, and to not always chase just good feelings, but sit in times where we need to grieve or times where we need to feel a little anxious. those things are okay to feel, right? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Check her out. She's gonna be on my Etsy shop soon. I think I'm gonna do a print on demand or like instant download first, and then obviously I have my print on demand stuff where you can actually just order it as a poster itself. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jessica Darling, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.